There we go. Let's get ourselves situated. Okay. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to All the Best Podcast. Yeah, we're going to be chilling today. I don't know if you can hear that in my voice, but we chilling today. Um, I am your host, Shonebone, Shoney, whatever floats your boat. I like Shonebone. I'm going to keep rocking with Shonebone. So today we are talking about trust and what safety means and, home and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And moving, because that's been something that's really on my mind lately. I want to move from where I am for sure. I feel like this was a liminal space that has long since exceeded its, welcome, at least for me. Um, but outside of the way that it feels, you have to consider resources, in this 3D life that we live. So it's waiting for the resources to align and, seeing how to get there with what it is that I'm doing. Like, this is what, the second podcast that you guys are hearing from me. And it's like, yeah, this should be enough to make it all happen, make all the dreams come true. And who knows? Who knows if it is? And I guess, like, there's so many facets that always tie right back into trust, Because I'll give you an example. I was living in Texas, which this Texas was a huge liminal space for me. And I remember I had started going to SCAD. I was going online. And I knew that I wanted to move. I had been wanting to move, but I wanted to go to Savannah to attend in person. And this was peak COVID too, so in person is kind of sketchy at that point. But I just wanted to be the fuck out of Texas and into, Savannah. So one week I drive down there, and I stay in this motel that was on Airbnb, and I'm going around, and I had this one apartment in mind, and I thought it was perfect for me. It looked beautiful, views were gorgeous, neighborhood phenomenal. But when I got there, the place was not what I thought it was going to be. First of all, she was late as fuck. I didn't really say too much on that. Shit happens. Plus, I was walking around the neighborhood, found one of my favorite bookstores, E. Shavers or something to that effect, and it was a gorgeous time. Eventually, me and the lady, we link up and we go upstairs to the apartment. And, there was a lot of things that I was like, okay, I'll deal with this, which was, it was a small ass kitchen. I was like, okay, yeah, it's cool. It was, stairs and a decent walk up. I was like, it's fine. We can live with these things. But then I get inside and I realize it's like a big ass single bedroom, like just a single room, a studio essentially. But it was marketed as a one bedroom. I'm like, bro, this ain't no one bedroom, like I could fit my bed and that's about it in that bad boy. And then, there's immediately the kitchen and the bathroom, and everything is like so cramped and tight, especially for what was being charged for the space. And like the pictures made it look like, it was actually a separate bedroom that was fucking massive. And then, I assumed that I would get like a separate living room and all the rest of that kind of stuff. So seeing the place, and then, her requirements for the deposit, the pet deposit specifically, it was some astronomical amount and it was non-refundable. I'm like, bro, you are fucking high, because my pets are chill as fuck, old dudes, don't cause no issues. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. So I was pretty bummed about it, and I was back online looking for other places. But at the same time, like, I just went and I had fun in the space. I went out to eat. I drove down to the beach and, got to see what that was like, rode around in the neighborhoods. And on the last day, I was like, my last full day there, or excuse me, the day before the last full day there, I was on Zillow looking at places, and I found one. And I was just sending out messages like, can I come see it, blah blah blah. And one lady, she got back to me, she was like, yeah, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I was like, bet. So I pull up, and it's on this circle, and there's like a park there. It was Baldwin Park. It's fucking beautiful. And it was a first floor place. And, there was certain things that I knew that I wanted. Like, exposed brick walls, white walls, because the place that I was staying in Texas had fucking pissy yellow walls, and I hated them shits. Um, so white walls and nice windows, nice views, sitting on a nice park outside that belonged to us, like a yard or something like that for the boys, because I knew how they got down. And a kitchen island. It was just a nice fucking space. It ticked off so many boxes, and her and I got on so well. So I leave, and I'm like, I'm gonna fill out this application like right now, immediately. And I did. I sat there in front of the house, filled out the application, and I was driving around going across this bridge because I think I got lost. If I'm, yeah, I got lost because I was on the bridge headed towards Buford. So I get a phone call while I'm on this bridge making this U-turn, ears popping, and she's like, "Yeah, I usually don't accept people with your credit profile, but I got a good feeling about you, so we're gonna go ahead." And I was so fucking thrilled. And I lived there for 3 years. Beautiful 3 years. But I don't know what's up with me. I get restless after like 3 years in a place. It's just the way I roll. Um, And it was great, man. That park was fucking beautiful. The neighborhood was gorgeous. And it's like hindsight is always 2020. Um, but yeah, that shit was beautiful. So all that to say, it was so much reliant on trust, because even that night before my last full day, I was like, something has to give. This is where I'm moving. I already told the folks that I'm not renewing my lease because they just kept going up. I think I started renting at that place in Texas at like 14 something. And by the time I left, I was paying 20. And I'm like, bro, this shit. And I was there for 3 years. I'm like, you motherfuckers are on drugs. So, anyway, I got my place. I was fucking elated. Drove back to Texas and, had to start the process of packing up and getting everything ready to go. I think we were already, that's right, we were already packing. Like my mom was doing a lot of the packing and stuff. And I'd hired a moving company, and it was so funny because I was waiting to like get an address for them to send my stuff. So, like I said, all that stuff worked out, but it was, I don't know what the right formula or mix to that is that actually got me there, whether it was going and checking it out and feeling the feelings of being there and, seeing the perfect place for me and just believing that it was going to work out, and it fucking did. Um, you know, that was like the best case scenario situation for that. And it's kind of happened twice more. So, even moving to Texas technically was like a kind of great happenstance, because I never saw the place. I never would have rented it if I saw it first. And I think that's like a huge thing that I have to keep in mind. Like, I need to see the place before I decide to set down roots in it. Because the two times that I did it, when I first moved to Florida, fucking hated that place. And when I first moved to Texas, hated that place. But the way that both of those worked out was, each one of them was willing to give me fantastic, you know, deals to move in. And they were like, yeah, we can do sight unseen, blah, blah, blah. No issues. We'll get you in there. And they did. So in that sense, it worked out. And they both got me, like when moving to Florida, I was leaving my last duty station to PCS, or, set up shop in Florida essentially. And I needed a place, and I only had like $300. And that's all they charged me for the for the deposit. So shit, I was set. And it got my foot in the door. Same thing with Texas, even though I stayed there for 3 years, because that was like fresh getting out of the Marine Corps and having to wait for the retirement funds to kick in, and so much healing and all the rest of that kind of shit. So moving to Savannah was like, for me, that was mine, and it worked out so beautifully. And then eventually I wanted to leave Savannah. I wanted to go finish out my degree in Atlanta, which is where the other SCAD campus is. So I told, just like I did before, I told them people like I wasn't renewing, didn't have a fucking plan. Um, Drove to Atlanta to check out some places, and the place that I ended up moving into was the first one that we went to, and it was nice or whatever. It was a townhouse, and I was just happy because it was super close to the campus, and I got a garage, so I was like, shit, I'm living life. Because I missed having a garage from that Texas spot. I hated leaving my car outside all the time. So, but there was so much back and forth with that Atlanta place. You know what I'm saying? Like, at first, it took them forever to process my credit profile. It took them forever to process my application, and like it was maybe a week or so before I was due to leave when I finally heard back, and they were like, "Yeah, we can do this. Sorry it took us so long. Just give us $800 for the security deposit, and you're in there like swimwear." And I'm like, "Well, fucking thanks," because I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna do. Um, and It's funny because even moving there, I didn't necessarily have the finances to be making this grand journey. Um, but Spirit decided the best way to wash away the old and bring in the new was legit to flood my apartment. So that was a time. Savannah was getting some outlandish rain, and and we lived on a pretty decent like incline, where water usually would never come up that high, but it fucking did. It flooded all the way to the doors and into the crib. I got a video of it, wild as fuck. Um, and it ruined so much of my stuff. So but that landlord was fantastic. They, set me up in another one of their vacant properties until they could, bring some folks out to remediate, to dry the place out. And I did or I filed a claim through my renter's insurance and ended up getting back, a decent chunk of change that was damn near down to the dollar what I needed to move. Um, and I mean, like I just don't know that one. I was like, okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we got there, and even like moving there the day of, like I was cleaning, scrubbing the place, scrubbing my last place in Savannah, and then had to like hit the road and speed there. And I made it like 20 minutes before they closed because this was a Saturday when I moved in. 20 minutes before they closed to get my key and like get the fucking door open. So that place was stupid expensive. And then when I stopped going to school, I was like, bro, I am not going to keep staying here. Plus, it was so hard on my nervous system because it was fucking loud. I was sandwiched between two super busy fucking roads. People were rude as fuck. My next door neighbor, I don't know what the fuck was going on with them. But one of the dudes in there would just I'm sorry for your balls. But he would sound like it would sound like a fucking zombie that was hungry, and somebody just needed to throw that man a leg or something because it was pissed. I think what was actually happening was homeboy was in there, you know, maybe hitting the water pipe as they call it, and that was like the hacking afterwards. I don't know. That's it's either that or he was a zombie, and I've seen him moving in the daylight, so I don't really know. But yeah, so I moved. It's so funny because that one, I remember I was going around telling the world that I was fucking out of here. I was leaving punk ass Georgia. Um, I was leaving the school one semester shy of graduation. I was burnt out from SCAD. I cannot front. But I had a plan. And there was this woman that was like a godmother to me, who was like, you can come live with me. And after, I was like, that sounds perfect because that'll give me time to, stack my money or whatever. And then the plan was for me to go travel and figure out where the fuck I wanted to be in this world. Um, oh my God, she was in my dream last night. How funny. Uh, anyway, so that ended up falling through, and it fell through with literally a week of me needing to move out of my Atlanta place. So now I'm scrambling, looking for local places, and I find one. And it was decent. At least when I pulled up, there were some old white folks sitting outside, and all the grasses were cut and everything looked well maintained. So I was like, oh shit, I done did all right. Especially for this price point, I thought that I'd fucking made it. And then it's like it's one of those things. So it was very lucky that I found the place when I found it. I'm not gonna front on that, but the leasing agent, when I pull up to sign the final lease and I'm saying get the keys and shit, he's like, are you sure this is something that you want to do? I'm like, bro, what a fucking terrible time to ask me that question. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally just finished the walkthrough before I sign this fucking form and take the keys. Why would you ask me that right now? And he was like, this is, this is good for you. Is this really what you want to do? And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? And I don't know, maybe I should have known from that. But like 3 or so days in, I had somebody ready to break into my fucking car, and my neighbor, gun happy individual, popping clips all the time and shit. But turned out to be a decent enough human being. And I don't know, it was just fucking hard on my nervous system. There were so many things I think that had fallen through while in this space, and so much where I needed to learn what safety and home was outside of my external reality. Like safety wise, there's, don't get me wrong, I still struggle with it and shit like that, because there's some shit that happens in this neighborhood that I don't love. And it's like I had to find safety within myself. I had to, and not by having weapons or anything like that, but like legitimately feeling safe within myself, within my body, in order to like exist on this plane. You know what I'm saying? And that shit took some work. It took some time, because I can't do like I did before. I can't just hit the eject button and get the fuck out of here. I have to endure and sit with it, and make a plan to leave. And while doing all of that, like I still have to live. So it's like I have to be able to feel good in my body, and to feel safe with myself, to know that no matter what, I got me, I will figure it out, all that kind of stuff. So that was the safety aspect. And then the aspect of home, even that, because I've bounced around in so many places trying to find what feels right, what feels home. And like I said, I like to move like every 3 years. So I haven't been here for 3 years. I've been here for like a year and a half, but trust me, I'm ready to go. And I'm just counting all of this as Georgia time. You know what I'm saying? I'm counting it all. It all counts. And all that to say, I don't know where home exists in any other physical location. I have no idea. But I think with all of the work, and gratitude for that, with all of the work that I've done here to feel safe and everything, I found a home within myself. So it's like in a home with my pets, with the art that I like to do, with nature. So it stops being about these external markers of success, and it starts really being about what actually matters to you in life: health, regulated nervous system, food, getting into cooking and stuff like that again. So and being able to slow down enough to enjoy cooking for myself. So I am still ready to go, but that won't change. But I also respect and accept the lessons that I learned while here, while also knowing that I think I've learned all that I can while being here. Because one thing I've noticed about this place is every time that I start feeling comfortable, something happens that makes me immediately fucking uncomfortable again. You know what I'm saying? That reminds me why this is not a place where I can sit and chill and vibe forever. And I saw something that was like, you'll never be comfortable in a place where you're not meant to be. And that shit is factual. So I don't know. I've had some dreams and some meditations about places to go next. And I'm very optimistic about getting there. I don't know what resources or what plans Spirit is planning on making happen so that it can happen. I couldn't fucking tell you. But I know that it will. Like I trust and I know that something's gonna happen. And I got a couple months for that to come true. So, as you hear it through your earballs, hopefully we'll all see the product of this over the next coming months. And it can be something that, I don't know, inspires some radical change in yours too. Hell, I'm wishing that for you. I'm wishing a win for all of us. I think we deserve it. But I think the one thing that I keep thinking, and I keep getting like reaffirming messages like, yes, you will move, it's going to work out, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's important that it does, because, this is a place I feel has affected my health as well. But, I think about the astrology thing of Saturn being in Aries, and my Aries sits in my ninth house. That's my midheaven. And that's all about, beliefs and higher education and travel. But with Saturn sitting there, and Saturn rules like my chart, I have a very Saturn heavy chart. So with Saturn sitting there, it's like, as bad as Aries wants to fucking fly off the handle and get us there, Saturn is like, no. Did you think about it? Did you make a plan? You can't just fly by the seat of your pants like you usually do. And I hate it. I hate it so much. But like I kind of respect the gangster of it too, because I don't want to do like I did here, or like I got here or whatever. But then I was just kind of stuck and fucking spiraling for a solid year, trying to figure out why the fuck I was here, and then wanting to leave and not having a plan to actually make that happen. So I don't know. It's a balance of making a plan and also divine intervention, however that goes. But yeah, I think that that's good for this episode. I appreciate your earballs as always. If you were drinking to this, I hope you did a game for how many times I said earballs. Here's a couple more just in case. Earballs, earballs, earballs. And if you don't drink, the liquor like I don't, hell, do it with some water or your favorite beverage or something. I don't know. Anyway, here's to hoping that it all works out for you, for me, for the whole world, all the good things, all the love. And as always, all the best.